Hey everybody, I'm excited today to show off the next version of Samposium, which is 1.04. There was a couple features mentioned in Discord and in the community that made it in here that we're going to go over. If you like what you see, please give a like on YouTube and also consider subscribing because it helps the channel. And then also down below, there's a link to the Discord where if you do have ideas or features that you would like to see in this, you could put that in our Discord and we read everything. So just want to thank everybody and let's go. The next thing I want to go over is an extension to the MIDI system. This was proposed by a user, I think it was in the YouTube comments or the Discord, but they asked about Bluetooth controllers. And it was always on the roadmap, but since they asked for it, it kind of got bumped in priority. And I have this lovely little Bluetooth controller, which is a rolling light box. And so we're going to go over the new Bluetooth MIDI controller system in Samposium 1.04. So first, let's go ahead and turn on our Bluetooth little MIDI controller. And if you go up to the system preferences or the Samposium preferences, you'll see that things have been reorganized. There's multiple tabs now, but on the first tab, there's a whole new section that we'll go over in a little bit for MIDI devices and mappings, but there's a new little Bluetooth section. So if you go to Bluetooth, we're going to see some other Bluetooth devices that I was using to test, but these are the Rolly light blocks or light pad blocks that we are going to then connect. So now we have our Bluetooth is connected. So if we go, let's just take this kick, and if we go into our MIDI section for the sample pad, and we do a learn, and I can just map it like that. And now when I push this pad, it's all mapped. But and this is true throughout the system. But let's go ahead and we're going to actually unmap that right now. And what we are going to do that I didn't mention earlier is that in our patterns, in our sequencer preferences, there is also a whole new section for MIDI mappings where you can map the play button, the back button, now all, and all the different patterns that we are going to do that. So we are going to map the play button to here, and then we'll map the back button to this one, and then our now and our all buttons, because that's always handy. And we'll map the A pattern. We're going to map everything here, so bear with me as this is a little takes a little bit of time to set up, but once it's set up, it remembers all the mappings. And so now we have E, F, and then G and H here. Oops, gotta tap that. And currently we are in the pads layout, so we can see all the pads going. And so if I go ahead and see, you can see things toggling on and off now. On the all, and if we hit play, we are in our basic drums pattern. If we hit our back, you can see this is all just Bluetooth happening. And what's kind of nice with our Bluetooth controller being our way to access the different patterns is we can switch them. Let's just go to here. And now when we use now in conjunction, this is really fun with Bluetooth controllers and just like MIDI controllers in general. When now is on, you can just do really like fun things. You can always do this on the screen too, and you can use the screen and the Bluetooth controller at the same time, but you can just start switching things with now and all enabled. So we can just start switching. And you can do stuff like that, which I think I think is fun. It allows flexibility, but you can still touch these things, if you go in here. We're getting a little artifacting from the screen capturing right now, but if we go ahead and hit stop. But yeah, so that's the Bluetooth MIDI mapping. And you can see the different Bluetooth devices. And again, the Bluetooth, you can access it to connect Bluetooth devices under the Samposium preferences, which is the gear in the upper right corner. And yeah, you'll see all the connected devices. Currently, we only have the little light pads connected, or the light blocks. So that's all you're seeing right here. But if you have multiple MIDI devices, it'll show them all connected. And that is Bluetooth controller support in Samposium 1.04. Next, I want to go over some of the quality of life improvements that have been made in Samposium in regards to MIDI mappings, and a few other features that are in Samposium 1.04. So in the past, when you would map MIDI, it would map and everything would work, but there was not a lot of detail on what the actual mappings were. So first off, if we go to like this sample pad right here, the EBO thingy, and you come into the MIDI section now, you can actually see the MIDI section has been streamlined, so it takes up a little less room. But then also you can see the device that it's mapped to, which is the MIDI Fighter 3D right here. So just a little bit of information on what is mapped to what per pad. And again, if you come into our effects right here for the same pad, and you go into the MIDI mapping section here, you can see the nano control slider right here is also mapped. So it just gives you a bit of insight on what is what and what is actually happening with a per sample pad and per effect kind of level. And the same thing is also true for our sequence patterns, which we just kind of went over. As you can see, it tells you that the light pad blocks, our Bluetooth controller, is mapped to those. But then also in our Samposium preferences section, there is a whole new MIDI device and mapping section. So let's go ahead and go into that. And I've already pre-mapped a lot of things so you can kind of see all the details. So at the top, what you have is the currently connected devices, which are the hardwired devices. It doesn't put Bluetooth in that list right now. If that's something you want to see, let me know. I can add it. Bluetooth is in a separate list, but under the MIDI mapping history, it will show the Bluetooth. But so with all the mappings in the system, you now have one convenient place. And see, you can see here this sequencer all and all this kind of stuff in pattern A's that are the Bluetooth mappings, but they just don't show up in the MIDI controller devices list because I just made those the hardwired devices. But in this list, you can now see every single mapping that you have in the system. And this is a list, so things like, hey, you're like, hey, I don't want this one right here, and you can delete it and it'll unmap it. So it's a convenient place to see your mappings, but also delete any single mapping. And of course, you can always go into the individual areas where you've mapped things before, you know, like on here or in the effect right here, and you can just, you know, reset the mapping or turn it off, and it'll reset the mapping. But having one place to kind of go and see all these things is kind of handy. There is also a clear all MIDI mappings, which will wipe the entire all mappings. So if you're just wanting to start over, you can clear them all as well. If you do hook up a MIDI controller and you find that it doesn't show up in the list right away, there is a handy dandy little refresh like button right here. And so now, you know, you get to see all the kind of devices, you know, that you have, and you know, and where they're going and where they're mapped, which is something that you could see a little bit, but it wasn't as convenient as it is now, you know, which is nice, you know. It's a nice thing, you know. And so we're just doing a little playing around here with our mappings and stuff like that, as you can see. And one of the things that if you haven't noticed, a little fun thing is anytime you, like, I think it's more on a button tap, but you'll see that the SynthFam logo in the upper right lights up to show you that it's receiving MIDI messages and stuff. And so these are some of the streamlined mapping sections. Let me turn this down a little bit and we'll do some filters here and calm things down. The next thing I wanted to go over is back to the kind of sequencer and the and patterns, but more just the sequencer, is that you've always had the ability to solo thing. So now if we stop everything else, as the sequencer goes and does its loops, when it triggers, this is soloed, so no other samples will be triggered unless they're soloed as well. So one of the nice quality improvements here is, because sometimes, if you're on other pads, and it's easy to see in this case that this one's soloed because it's plain, but there's now a little dot indicator for soloed and also mute. So let's go ahead, we'll also solo this one, but then we'll mute this one and we'll solo this one because that makes no sense. But you can see the little dots below, and what it is, it's just a visual indicator so you can see which ones are soloed and which ones are like muted and stuff like that, just by looking at the sample pads themselves. It's a nice visual way just to kind of see what's going on. Another quality of life feature for the solo and the mutes in the sequencer is now you're able to hold down on each of these to bring up a menu. So on the solo, and Unsolo All, so it'll unsolo everything, and then on this one, unmute all. And you can do that, and it's a handy way to just, unsolo and unmute all in one location without having to go to each sample pad and unmute and unsolo things. And these are just some of the quality of life improvements that aren't the most glorious of features, but they're nice to have. And again, this was some feedback that people gave, and so it took a little bit to implement because I wanted to do it right and also have it make sense. I want to thank you for checking out the video, and also thank the community for the feedback, and also for people that have been supporting the app, and also SynthFam DSP. And I just want to mention that if you're wanting to join the Discord, there's a link down in the description of the YouTube video. And also, if you liked the video or you like what we're doing here at SynthFam DSP, please give a like and a subscribe to the YouTube channel. So thank you all and have a great day.